From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, October 18th, 2021. We'll start off looking at the satellite picture across North America. We've got a disturbance making its way through central and northern portions of the Rockies, bringing winter storm conditions to, again, the northern and central Rockies in the U.S., and then eventually that'll spread into the northern plains. We're going to have an area of high pressure across the Canadian Prairie, though, that's going to help keep this storm off to the south, keeping us dry as we head through much of the week. We'll look at the radar picture here. Some very light rain showers, maybe some snow flurries across northern Alberta. That's going to continue to move off to the east across northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba as we head through the next 24 hours. We'll check in with temperatures here generally. So we make our way across central and southern Alberta. We're talking about lower single digits. We've got a -4 in the Peace River, Grand Prairie area. As we look at Saskatoon, pretty close to 0 degrees. We've got 0 in Saskatoon, -1 in Regina. And then as we head into southern Manitoba, we're talking about temperatures in the middle to upper single digits. Now, quiet as far as advisories go from British Columbia all the way across the prairie into Ontario, just about the first time in a long time that I can remember seeing it quiet here, even without the air quality alerts here with some of the wildfire smoke across the region. So nothing to talk about as far as severe and hazardous weather goes across the Canadian Prairie as we get started this week. Now, as we take a look at the last 7 days of precipitation, it's been dry across central and southern Alberta down into southwestern portions of Saskatchewan. And then, of course, we had the storm system make its way into southeastern Saskatchewan, into central and southern Manitoba over the mid to late part of last week, even bringing some snow flurries to portions of southeast Saskatchewan, again, mid to late last week. So dry in the west, it was active and kind of cool and unsettled in the east. It's going to be dry for just about everyone, though, as we get the week started here. Again, those very light snow showers, very light rain showers across northern portions of the prairie provinces as we head through the next 24 hours. Otherwise, boom, you see it get active there after a quiet week. Let's take a look. High pressure, keeping us quiet, a lot of sunshine. Temperature is going to be pretty mild, close to average as we head through much of the week here. And we'll head through, this is now Wednesday. Let's get it into Thursday here. Again, high pressure, keeping the storm system across the northern U.S., confined to the northern U.S. And then as we get to the end of the week here, that high begins to kind of weaken as we get into the weekend. This is now Friday. We're starting to see maybe the potential of the area of low pressure off to our east retrograding just a bit to allow some of the cooler, showery air mass, I guess is what I would call it, to kind of retrograde back into eastern portions of the prairie late week. But really, when I talk about shifting into an active and more unsettled pattern, I'm really looking to the west for this big trough to begin to allow some of the more organized precipitation to make its way in. And that happens as we get to the end of the weekend into early next week. So around October 23rd, 24th, 25th. And we'll take a look at the precipitation forecast kind of broken down over the next 10 days. And you see a lot of it comes in the days 5 to 10 time frame with a dry, quiet kind of next 5 days. So this is what we've got next weekend. We see multiple opportunities for precipitation to kind of track into the region. Could be some rain, maybe even some opportunities for some snow as we get into early next week. And see this here again. Details are going to be fluid as we head through the next few days, but this is the current prognosis for Wednesday, October 27th. So again, days 8, 9, and 10, low reliability, but we've got high consistency with our global ensembles here that we are going to shift into this active regime across the prairie with multiple opportunities for everybody to pick up some precipitation. So between now and Thursday afternoon, here's the NAM model. Again, quiet other than the next 24 hours off to the north. We see that chance for light rain and snow flurries. We see that with the NAM on the left and the European model, and then both of these models giving a dry forecast between now and Thursday across the remainder of the prairie provinces. Now, as we look at the next 10 days, we take the Euro all the way out to October 28th. That's when we start to introduce a bigger swath of significant moisture, and then also seeing that everyone across the prairie having at least the opportunity to pick up some moisture as we head into early part of next week. But again, breaking it down, days 0 to 5 and then days 5 to 10, you see we're dry for the majority of the week. And then we head into the weekend early next week, and that's when we introduce much more in the way of precipitation as this trough that's showing up here in the first 5 days begins to move ashore bring in some of that upper level support, some of that Pacific moisture, and then even tap into some of the Gulf moisture off to our south with a big organized trough making its way in. So here's what that looks like. This is the 500 millibar height anomalies starting off right now. So here's the ridge right now, kind of the axis stretching from the central US into the Manitoba-Ontario border. Here's the disturbance right now that's bringing the winter storm conditions to the northern Rockies, and then we've got a little piece of that here across northern portions of Alberta, scooting into Saskatchewan and Manitoba over the next 24 hours. Now, we'll hit play on this over the next 5 days. This ridge of high pressure really is what keeps us quiet, mild, pretty close to average as far as temperatures go. But here's the big trough, the big bowling ball sitting off the Pacific coast. This is what it looks like as we get into Thursday and Friday. We'll take it ahead just a few more days, and we see that the ridge does allow this trough to eventually start to push in. Here we go as we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. You can see it swinging in, and this would put us into position where we would have a lot of upper level divergence here, a lot of vertical motion in the atmosphere. We'll see some Pacific moisture, and then again, even tapping into some Gulf moisture. So the details here we're going to have to sort out as we head through the rest of the week, but this is a strong signal for a much more active and unsettled last week of October across the prairie. Now we'll look at the wind speeds here at 500 millibars. This is the mid-level jet stream winds. Again, very strong flow coming across the Pacific as we get started here early this week. But again, much of that being deflected off to the south as we head through the work week here. So we'll animate this. We'll see the ridge really keep us quiet as far as organized, strong jet stream flow. If I circle you here, you see, the deeper red shading here. That's where you see the strong jet stream winds. And then when you look at the prairie, of course, we are void of anything organized here. So no upper level support for organized precipitation across the prairie as we head through the work week here. But then as we get into the weekend, we start to head a little deeper into early next week. We start to see the pattern change. We see the ridge allow some of the stronger jet stream support to begin screaming in here across the Pacific coast, and then bringing a lot of precipitation, first to British Columbia, the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, and then eventually making its way into the prairie. So side by side, the European on the left, GFS on the right, they're going to disagree on how the precipitation is distributed. The important thing to see is both of them agree on the active pattern moving back into the area, and just about everyone's seeing at least opportunities for precipitation as we get into the weekend and early next week. Temperatures over the next 10 days, getting another little shot of cool air across the region here, but generally temperatures going to be overall averaging out. So be pretty close to seasonal averages as we head through the week, and then a chance for a warm-up as we see that trough begin to make its way in. Again, big trough. We'll start to see some ridging across the prairie. It's going to lead to a more mild finish to the week in many areas. So here's a look at that. Calgary climbing from a high of 6 today all the way to 15 by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. Similar look here in Edmonton, warming up as we head through the rest of the week. Here in Saskatoon, temperatures generally going to be in the upper single digits as we talk about afternoon highs. 15 in Regina today, down to 7. Bouncing around 7, 6, 8 degrees as we head through the rest of the week. And then Winnipeg, finally, a high of 19 today. Highs generally in the mid to upper single digits as we head through the rest of the week.